Hello and welcome to Helldivers. Welcome everybody that came over here from Xbox, as well as anybody that's just hopping into this game, or maybe only played this game casually and like more of a complete beginner's guide. In this, we're going to be going over all of the starting stuff and kind of make things a little bit simpler for you in Helldivers. I'm also going to be showing how to level up things quickly and how to potentially get Warbonds faster too. So let's go over all of your equipment first in Helldivers 2. And this stuff is pretty straightforward, and I'm just going to kind of explain some of the things that you can do with it. So first up, we have our primary weapon, which is the Liberator. This is your starting assault rifle, and if you go into here, you can see exactly what its stats are, whether it's damage, capacity, recoil, rate of fire. All of those are pretty straightforward. This also has the light armor penetration. Weapons can have different levels of armor penetration. Generally speaking, it's light, medium, and heavy. The higher the armor piercing, the easier it is to fight certain enemy types. Really big enemies can only really be hurt by heavy armor piercing or anti-tank armor piercing with some of the special weapons that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Medium armor pen is a little bit less than heavy armor pen, but generally it's going to work against most enemies. And then light armor pen is the lightest amount. It's not going to be able to pierce through hardened armored areas, and you'll notice your bullets bouncing off of enemies, but it will still hurt the smaller enemies, and it doesn't really matter if you're shooting weak spots. There's also weapon customization that you can do here too, where every time you take this weapon into battle, you will get XP upon completing the mission. Whether you use this weapon the entire time or not doesn't really matter. Secondary weapons are pretty straightforward too. First up, you get your starting pistol, which has been buffed significantly since this game came out, and it's actually a pretty decent secondary now. Also, all the secondary weapons right now are considered one-handed, so if you have a shield out, you can use these in combination, or you can use this to blind fire backwards when running away. That can be pretty useful too. And then finally, you have your throwable, which starting off, you have the high explosive grenade. These are pretty much whatever grenades you want to take. Grenades are extremely useful for breaking up crowds, and they're also very useful for completing objectives like destroying tunnels, or destroying bot factories, destroying illuminate ships, whatever they might be. It is important to note too that whatever grenade and secondary you go in with the mission with, you're always going to be keeping. Every time that you respawn, you will get just the same ones. You're not going to be having different ones. Same thing goes with your primary. When you respawn, you'll always keep it. However, you can drop your primary weapon for another teammate's primary weapon. So if a teammate happened to die and they had a weapon you wanted to try out, feel free to snag that too, because they're going to start back up with their own weapon. Next up, we have our armory, which covers our armor, helmet, and cape. Pretty much the helmet and the cape are purely cosmetic, so pick whichever one you like the most. There is no difference between any of these in terms of stats. Armor does vary in quite a few different ways. So there's 3 different classes of armor, where there is light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor. Right away, you start out in medium armor, as well as each armor does have its own unique passive, and in here you can see exactly what its stats are. Most of these are pretty standard. There are some that go a little bit different with the stat spread, but generally speaking, light armor has the lightest amount of armor rating, so you'll take the most amount of damage when you get hit with this. However, you do have the most movement speed, and you also get the fastest stamina regen. So ideally, you're not really getting into too many fights, and you don't have to take too many hits. Medium armor is kind of a compromise between light and heavy armor, where this one is just kind of okay at everything. It gives you decent protection, it gives you a decent movement speed buff, and it also has decent stamina regen. Nothing way crazy with medium armor, it's just kind of the in-between, and it's the armor that you start out with. Then you have heavy armor, giving you the most amount of armor rating, giving you the tankiest, but you're also the slowest, and you have the slowest stamina regen. So this one's really good against bots, since a lot of the time they're usually ranged enemies that don't really want to swarm you, so you can actually afford to kind of take hits and move a bit slower, as opposed to like the bugs and the squids that move a bit faster, where light and medium might be a little bit better. Totally depends on your preference. There's not really one great armor over the other type. There are different armor passives that are definitely better or worse than one another. The armor that you start out with has this extra padding, which gives you a higher armor rating. This one is one of the best passives in the game. There are some that I would highly recommend that you look for if you're just new to this. Feel free to try all of them out as you go though, just to see which ones you like. But there are some that you can get that are just generally really good and very easy to understand. Extra padding just makes you tankier. Basically, if you're wearing this, then you're going to be able to take more hits in a similar armor than otherwise. So that's really good. Fortified is another really good one, since this one makes it so you just get explosion damage resistance, as well as you get recoil reduction, which is pretty good. The recoil reduction is very nice to have, but the more important part is kind of the explosive resistance, because there's a lot of explosives in this game. Your own explosive, teammate explosives, and plenty of enemies can use explosives too. So just taking less damage from that is really nice. And then the last one I'd really look for as a new player would be the medkit one. Medkit is also super useful because it just makes it so you hold more stims, basically more med packs that you can use, and your stims last longer. So whenever you do heal yourself with a stim, it has a lingering heal effect. So this can actually make it so even when you're taking damage, you'll still be able to heal up off of that damage, and medkit makes it a little bit more forgiving. Next, let's talk about your ship. So you can change quite a bit about your ship, including the name and everything, but once you get in here, there will also be this section here, which is the ship management. Ship management is all of your various upgrades. So in the first one, you can actually rename your ship, whatever you'd like it to be. There is also the stratagems that you can unlock, which you do unlock a few of these right away, but this is where you're going to buy them, and you're going to be using the requisition slips. You get requisition slips whenever you complete a mission, as well as you can find them throughout missions too. Pretty much all of this loot up here that you can see is all obtainable in missions. The stratagems you can unlock just simply from buying them, and once you've achieved a certain level. You do start out with something like the machine gun, but then you could move on to something like the anti-material rifle once you have enough credits for that. And later on, you could be buying even bigger weapons, like let's say the spear, which is a guided missile that can actually knock out quite a few things. So there is quite a lot of different things here. Don't feel bad if you can't unlock some of the high level stuff right away. Yes, this stuff is all pretty fun to play with, but a lot of the earliest game stuff is actually really strong. Like the starting machine gun is legitimately a really good weapon against basically everything in really any situation on pretty much any difficulty. There's also the ship modules that you can unlock for your ship. This will make it so you just get bonus passives as well as your team gets bonus passives. These are very important to unlock, and these ones cost samples. Samples can only be obtained inside of missions, and it's based on how many samples you have once you leave the mission. So if you die, you drop all of your samples, so be sure to go back and pick up your sample containers. Otherwise, you may not get as many. You can hold a maximum of 500 common samples, 250 rare samples, and 100 super samples. Samples are tied to difficulty as well, so on lower difficulties you're only going to be able to get common samples. On some more of the medium difficulties you're going to be able to get common and rare samples. Difficulty 7 and up, then the super samples start to spawn. You're going to need these to unlock each part of the ship, and this does take quite a while to unlock everything on your ship, but again, a lot of the very starting ones are some of the best ones to actually unlock on your ship, and you'll just get these naturally as you go forward. Last option here is just vehicle customization, which is basically you can just change the vehicle colors. These will also be unlocked during Warbonds. And speaking of Warbonds, let's talk about that. So right away, you have multiple Warbonds that are going to be locked to you. These cost the premium currency, which is right up here. This is called the super credits. You're going to need 1,000 super credits to unlock each of these Warbonds. And every single Warbond, besides the very first Warbond, which we'll talk about here in a second, has 3 separate pages. This usually includes brand new armors, brand new weapons, sometimes new stratagems. There is also always guaranteed to be 3 sets of super credits in each of these. These are unlocked by using medals. Medals are just obtained by completing missions, and you can also find them during missions. These ones, if you find any medals or super credits during a mission, regardless of if you fail that mission or if you disconnect from that mission or whatever, you will still keep those medals and those super credits, which is very useful. Let's answer the question of how difficult it is to get premium currency, and also, am I going to have to spend extra money on this game? So in terms of overall difficulty to get extra super credits, it's actually not that bad. There is a way to grind for it, and I'm going to show you later in this video how to do that. Super credits you can purchase with real money if you would like to. You can get 150 super credits for $2. This is going to be changed based on regional price as well. Then we also have like the 375, 1,000 super credits for $10, and then 2,100 super credits for $20. That's a decent amount considering, like, if you want 2 Warbonds, it's basically going to cost you like 2 of these, although if you do unlock 2 Warbonds, then you're going to get that extra 100 super credits, and then you're also going to get the 600 from the Warbonds themselves. You don't actually have to spend money on this, and I've never spent money on any of the Warbonds, and I've been able to unlock them fairly quickly, considering that I haven't played this game as much as I would kind of like to. But you can find the premium currency inside of missions. This comes in stacks of either 10 or 100 in terms of super credits. And one Warbond here is unlocked for you for free. So this is the starting Warbond. This is called Helldivers Mobilize, which you can just hop right into here, and this one has the most pages. This one has 10 pages in total with a ton of stuff in here. So this is different weapons, different armors, more super credits that you can get, different grenades. We also have the boosters here. We'll talk about that when we're going into missions and kind of what that means. But a lot of the free stuff is actually really good in this game. Just within the first page, you get something like the frag grenade, which can be useful since you get quite a lot of them. They're actually really good if you want to be rushing certain missions quickly, because you just can toss them out fast and you get the most of them. You can also get like the Punisher shotgun, which in my opinion is one of the best shotguns in the game, and that's available like right away. You can get things like a submachine gun as a secondary option. You can get the diligence rifle, which again, in my opinion, is one of the best rifles in the game. Like, you actually get some really, really strong stuff right away. Also, let's talk about the Warbonds that I would highly recommend for new players. If you're brand new to the game, there is 2 Warbonds in particular that I'd recommend that you get. Now, that being said though, if you really, really like the aesthetic of one particular Warbond, go with that one. Like, for example, if, let's say, you really like Viper Commandos because you like this helmet, you got a really cool gun here. There's also some other really cool stuff in here, like the booster's actually really strong, and you can also get like a sawed-off shotgun. Like, this one looks really cool. The peak physique armor looks really cool too. This one is absolutely awesome if you just like the aesthetic of it, and if you want to go for that, then absolutely go for it. There's not really a bad Warbond to go for first. It's just that there are some that I would say give you potentially more value or are a little bit more useful if you're brand new to the game. And the 2 Warbonds that I recommend that you get first, the very first one is Democratic Detonation. I think this one gives you the absolute most amount of value out of any of the Warbonds because it gives you some really outstanding weapons, where you have things like the Thermite Grenade being one of the best grenades in the game. Arguably, it is the best grenade in the game. It's really good for anti-tank everything. It's basically a sticky nade that just melts through whatever you throw it on. Then you also have like the Adjudicator being a very solid assault rifle if you like that. We also have some really good armors throughout here that are just generally nice. A really cool helmet, like the Groundbreaker helmet's one of my absolute favorites. The booster in here is pretty bad. Extraction Pilot isn't really that great, but the rest of it's pretty good. We also have the Eruptor, basically a big anti-tank sniper rifle that has explosive rounds in it. That one's pretty cool, and it's actually been reworked quite a bit. It's really strong right now, though. And then we also have like the Grenade Pistol, one of the best secondaries in the game. You can close up bug tunnels with this or bot factories. It works pretty well as just a regular weapon if you want to be shooting at stuff. And then we also have the Crossbow in here, which has explosive bolts in it and is arguably one of the best primaries in the game. It just does really high damage per hit. It has somewhat of an AoE. It doesn't have like a big explosion, but a little bit. And you can still close up things with it. It also counts as a one-handed weapon, so if you want to use this with like a shield, or if you just want to run and kind of shoot this behind you can do that too. It works fairly well in that regard. The second Warbond I'd recommend is actually the brand new Warbond, which is called Control Group. There's more than likely another Warbond that's out by the time you're seeing this. That's probably the newest one, but this one's pretty nice too. Some of the weapons in it are pretty good, like the Variable I find to be really fun. I know some people really dislike it. It's kind of awkward. It's basically an assault rifle mixed with a shotgun mixed with it is a volley gun, so you can also fire out everything on it, and it can one-shot a lot of stuff. One shot, you're actually firing out like 49 rounds out of it. Some of the other things are a little bit awkward, like the Epoch can blow yourself up, and it's just kind of weird. The armors aren't that great either. The sound bug has been fixed with them, so that's kind of nice, but they're kind of okay. The main thing that you're going for here, though, is the Warp Pack. The Warp Pack is one of the best backpacks in the game, so this takes up your backpack slot, which we'll talk about that when we go over some of the other stratagems too. But the Warp Pack makes it so that you can teleport, and in solo this is super useful if you want to be farming super credits, because that means you can potentially teleport into bunkers, and bunkers have always 3 stacks of something, so that could be 3 stacks of super credits, it could be like a super credit, a sample, and a weapon. It could just be like 3 samples, but either way, it lets you get more resources if you're playing this solo. It's also really useful if you like wearing the heavy armor, because it just gives you more mobility overall, so a really good one there. Also, the grenade's fine too. It can't close up bug tunnels, but it's okay for the crowd control. So there's 3 sections on the map where you can fight the bots, which are the automatons. You can fight the terminids, which are the bugs, and you could fight the illuminate, which are the squids. I'd recommend that you try fighting all of these guys, see which ones you like, and feel free to go for different things. As well as you can see on the right side, there is a major order. Major order is shared across all players of the game, and this can include so many different things. Like right now, it's kill so many chargers, kill so many impalers, kill so many bile titans, as well as like extract with rare samples and extract with common samples. So if you're doing any of this on bug planets, then you're just going to be fulfilling more of the major order. Once the major order is complete, then everybody is rewarded with a thing, whether you were really playing that much or not. Even if you didn't do the major order and you just logged in later, if it was completed, you'll still get the reward of like 50 medals, which is really good for unlocking more things for, well, basically everything. Either way, let's move on to how to farm super credits quickly so that you can farm the Warbonds quickly. I'd recommend that you go over to the bot area. Then find a planet that's fairly open. You don't want to pick anything with snow or with the desert, simply because there is blizzards and sandstorms that could slow you down. So you're going to want to pick something that's fairly open, like this planet might be okay, but there's a lot of trees there, so it might not be the best. Let's try to find a different planet. This one could be okay because it doesn't really have any thing there. You can kind of just tell by looking at it. You'll get more used to that. Next up, I'd recommend that you just go over to the difficulty 1 and then pick whatever mission you like here. I'd also recommend not looking for city-based maps, because sometimes those can be a little bit more difficult to find objects in. But we're just going to go over to this one. Also, I have a mission going, so we're just going to eliminate that. Readying up for the mission, we're going to be going for a couple of different things in this. So the very first thing, we're just going to pick somewhere on the map to go. I'd recommend somewhere along the edge so you can circle around it, because we're only going to be doing like one pass over this map. Then we have our loadout here. So first up, let me actually equip like some light armor. I'd recommend light armor over every other armor if you're doing this, just simply because you can run through the missions faster. So we'll just pick this one. That's fine. Weapons don't really matter, although if you do have some of them available, they can be a little bit more helpful. Like if you have the grenade pistol unlocked from the democratic detonation that we talked about, that can be extremely useful here. I'll just equip that. If not, you don't need to worry about that though. The regular grenade is fine enough. So we'll just go with that. Whoop. Clicked out of there. And then next up, we're going to be picking the stratagems. Every mission you get 4 stratagems that you can pick from, as well as a booster. In these stratagems, these are kind of divided up between offense. The offensive ones are also split up into 2 different types, where you have the, I didn't mean to grab that, but we have the eagles, which are based on a plane. If you take multiple of these though, then keep in mind that you have to use up all of them before the plane will resupply and get all the other ones back. This goes on cooldown after you use them, and then also once they're already like all used up. As well as you can't use multiple within the same couple seconds. You have to wait for your plane to come back. So usually speaking, you don't want to be going with more than like 1 eagle stratagem, at least in my opinion. Sometimes you can go with 2 and pull that off just fine. But a lot of the time I find if you go with any more than 2, it just becomes kind of like a choke point in your build, and it's really awkward. Orbitals, which are all of these ones, are a single-use stratagem, and then they go on cooldown, and they just have their own individual cooldowns. These ones can be really useful, though. They're useful in basically every situation, as well as you get some access to some really good ones right at the start, like the gas strike is amazing. Also, with the eagle, the strafing run is also amazing. Like, these 2 are fantastic for early game stuff, so we're just going to be grabbing both of those. Down here, we have supplies. Supplies are split up between weapons and backpacks. Certain weapons also have backpacks, and I'm not going to be going over all of them, but certain ones like the autocannon have a backpack with them, or the recoilless rifle have a backpack with them. So you don't want to be grabbing like the recoilless rifle and a backpack, with the exception of maybe the Hellbomb backpack. The same thing goes with like, you don't want to have too many of these weapons most of the time, because you can only carry 1 special weapon at a time. So you don't want like 3 different machine guns. It's probably not going to be all that useful. You just kind of want to take the one, as well as special weapons can be found on the maps themselves. Not all of them, but certain ones can. So you can find like machine guns, you can find like anti-material rifles, you can find flamethrowers on those maps. So if you don't want to bring a special weapon, you don't need to. It's another thing to have in your arsenal rather than just your primary and your secondary. You can have a special weapon. For this, I'd highly recommend you grab the anti-material rifle, and we're also going to be grabbing the warp pack. If you don't have this though, and you have the jump pack, that can also be really useful. That's what I used to recommend. It's just the warp pack is even better. Also in stratagems, we have defense, which is pretty much turrets and mines. These are very self-explanatory. Most of the turrets you don't really have to man yourself. There are some that you do, but generally speaking, you just throw them out and they'll attack enemies. Be careful of the turrets though, because they can kill you and teammates really easily as well, especially some of them like the mortar. The mortar is just a friendly fire machine, but there are some really good ones like the rocket sentry and the autocannon sentry. Then the mines are also pretty straightforward. You throw them out, they spit out a bunch of mines on the ground. Don't step across them, otherwise you might blow up. Depends on what type of mine they are as to how scary that is. Like anti-tank mines you can't set off if you walk across them, unless you're in a mech and you walk across it, and then it can blow them up. Or in a vehicle of some sort. Either way, everybody can pick 4 of these stratagems, and sometimes you get extra stratagems based on what's going on. So in this case, we actually have 2 extra with the car and with the napalm barrage. Those won't be really relevant to what we're doing, but sometimes you do get extra stratagems, so just kind of be aware of that. Then we have our booster. Booster, you can only select 1 booster per person and only 1 booster per team. So you can't have like 3 vitality boosters on here. That wouldn't be allowed. But you could have 1 person with a vitality booster, 1 person with a stamina booster, 1 person with a muscle enhancement, and 1 person with a UAV. These ones all give passives towards your team, and generally speaking, most of them don't really do a whole lot, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of them that aren't really that good, and a lot of the best ones are free. So like the Vitality Enhancement, the Stamina Enhancement, Muscle Enhancement, and like the Hell Pod Space Optimization are some of the absolute best ones, and all of them are free. You can unlock them right away. If you're doing this solo, I'd highly recommend that you try to go for the Stamina Enhancement first. The Hell Pod Optimization is going to be the first one that you actually have access to in the first Warbond, but Stamina Enhancement is really useful for running these missions. So let's begin and kind of just go over how to farm super credits and how to get Warbonds a little bit quicker. So let's go in. You can also see that missions have a mission timer as well. For this one, it's 40 minutes, which is way more than enough time because we don't want to be spending very much time here. And you can see we already found a point of interest. So first things first, I'd recommend that you call down the anti-material rifle and you call down your warp pack or your jump pack, whatever you're using. If you're playing in multiplayer, you could also bring the car, which could be useful too, since that just can get you around the map a little bit quicker. So we're going to grab this. The main reason why we're bringing the anti-material rifle is just because it can open up certain containers, since it counts as an explosive weapon, but your grenades can do the same. So since we have the map layout like this, we're going to go towards other objectives. You can also ping your map wherever you'd like to go, and I find that's a little bit more useful for me, since sometimes I forget exactly where I'm going. Then if you do have like the warp pack or the jump pack, you can see you can move a little bit further. And we're just going to be sweeping for like points of interest, what looks interesting. You can see this by like the rays of light that are coming out. That means there's something over there. Also be sure to look for like indents in the ground. That's going to be a little bit easier to see if you are playing in, well, with the jump pack. So this is a bunker, and generally speaking, you're going to need 2 people to open this bunker. 1 person on each side to activate this. If you're solo, then you can't activate this normally. However, you do have the warp pack here, then you can see you can jump right into the bunker. You do have to get the right position for this, and this can be kind of difficult, so it's going to take multiple attempts. It did for me just now. But as you can see, bunkers have 3 separate stacks of things. And in this case, there's 2 stacks of super credits and a requisition slip. So we'll just go over here and activate these. Okay, I'll grab that. Grab this. I got 10 from there, and I got 10 from there. Already I have 20 super credits. Next, I just have to blink outside of the bunker, and then let's go towards the other objects. As you can see, there is this object over here. If it's blinking, then that means that there is a ship that has crashed down here, or I guess an escape pod. You can open up this, and I got some more medals. I'm already maxed out on medals. If I'm playing on this difficulty, though, I'm probably just getting like 1 or 2 medals. But either way, you're still getting something from this, so that can still be very useful. Let's move over here, because I seen another one. And we can open this up. And that's more requisition slips. Perfect. Okay, now, since I went the exact opposite way that I meant to go with my marker, I also screwed this up. You can also see on your compass, if there's question marks on the map, that means there's something over there. And in this case, this is a crate. Yes, so this is why we brought the anti-material rifle. And for these, you just need to open them up. Grenades will open them up, but also the anti-material rifle will, and in here I got 2 anti-material rifles. These always have 2 drops in them. The escape pods always have 1 drop, and then the bunkers always have 3. This is the main reason why I'd recommend you get the warp pack first, or you go with democratic detonation first, since they either give you the most amount of value or give you an option to get more super credits. Okay, there's another bunker here. Fantastic. These bunkers are far easier to get into than the other one. Now watch me screw it up. Okay, never mind. Got it. Oh, hey, and we got 2 more stacks of super credits and some more requisition slips. So we need requisition slips to upgrade our weapons, as well as unlock new special weapons and new stratagems in general. And the super credits will just make it easier for me to unlock more Warbonds as they come out, or more things in the superstore. I didn't talk about the superstore, but it's basically like an extension of a Warbond. Pretty much it's like you can buy just 1 thing at a time from it. There are certain unique weapons in there, like the stun baton, the saber. There's also like the Judge Dredd pistol, so there's a couple different ones in there that are pretty decent. You don't really need to buy those though. Like none of them I would say are that crazy. The sword looks really cool, but it's not amazing in my opinion. Let's open up this. Get the requisition slips, and get that. There's also other weapons that you can take, not just the anti-material rifle if you want to do this. Like the EATs could also work here. Like I said, your grenade can work. If you have the grenade pistol, that can also work. So you have multiple options for this. Once you've circled around the map, I'm going to go at least a little bit further because I feel like I might have missed something. But once you've done like 1 full circle around these maps, luckily they're not very big, then you're probably good to go. And with this like 1 trip, I already got 40 super credits. So if you're getting, let's say, 20, 30 super credits every trip, and more likely you're going to be getting closer to like 40, 50. Because if you find 100 super credit drop, you know, that's basically like 2 runs, 3 runs right there. So you can get 1,000 super credits actually pretty quick now. And once you have that, then you can unlock a new Warbond. And like I said, every Warbond comes with at least 300 in it. So you're going to be needing to unlock stuff anyway. I don't see anything else here. Now, if you were also going to be farming samples, then I'd recommend running around and looking for them. On these lower difficulties, you don't have as many. So they're just not really that great. And then you'd want to do the main objective and just leave as fast as possible. If you're just doing this for the super credits like I am, then you can just go back here, return to ship. And these runs rarely take more than 5 minutes to actually run across the map, find everything of value there, and then you're good to go. Next up, let's go over how to farm XP for weapon upgrades, because every single weapon can be customized to where you can buy different things, and you can also get like different patterns for them, which are also unlocked at various levels, and you'll also need requisition slips to unlock these. So let's say you want to unlock these quicker, and you kind of just want to complete missions faster. I'm going to show you a way to do that. So first up, you can equip whatever secondary you want. Secondaries don't have customization as of right now. They might in the future, but right now, secondary does not matter. Grenade also does not matter. So pick whichever grenade you like the most. I'm going to be picking the thermite grenade. Like I said, you can get this one right away. And if you don't have like the ultimatum, let's go with the grenade pistol. So we're going to go all the way up to super helldive, which is the highest difficulty. And I'm going to stick over here with the robot missions. We'll just pick this planet. And let's look around for a blitz mission. So blitz missions kind of look like this, but that's an eradication mission. They have the same symbol. That one's a blitz mission. Okay. Blitz missions are going to be the fastest to get weapon XP from, because you can do them the quickest and they have a lot of side objectives. This is also really good if you want to be farming the samples faster too. Regardless of what difficulty you're playing on, it's still really good to get commons, rares, and supers from this. So let's hop in here. And pretty much for this one, I'm just going to try to go as fast as I can, complete the main objective, and complete as many secondary objectives as I can, because your weapon is upgraded based on the amount of XP that you get. So let me just drop in over here. And I'm not really going to care too much if I die here. I'll go with the health booster. Let's go with the space laser. That one's really strong for these type of missions. Barrages can be pretty strong on these missions. And I'm also going to be going with, let's say, the Hell Bomb backpack, which is a really nice backpack. All of this is just to blow up stuff. That's all this build is for. We're not really going to be going for anything else. So now let's drop into this, see what we got going on here. And we just have to blow up so many factories to actually complete this, which is fine. Main thing I'm going to do first is get this. And then we are going to be going towards the enemy stuff over there. You can also ready up the stratagems ahead of time if you would like. This is dangerous though, because if you drop them, then they're going to go exactly where you drop them, so they could land on teammates. Generally speaking, you don't want to do that. Stratagems are very, very important though. Alright, so we got the first one going. We already blew up a factory there. That's super nice. Let's keep going over here. I'm also going to throw out my orbital laser. Oh yeah, we got the napalm barrage too, which is kind of cool. It's not going to be super useful for this, but yeah, the laser will actually actively seek them out, at least if they're bot factories or illuminate ships. If they aren't though, then they, generally speaking, won't. So, alright, we've already cleared up so much stuff there. Pretty much I just want to keep moving around here, hopefully not get shot too much, because I don't have the most armor on right now, but we'll just continue here. Damn. Alright, I would like to get use of my bomb, if I can. Nope. Too much gunfire. Alright, that's fine. I can probably drop right back down into a pretty good spot. Yeah. Dying isn't that big of a deal for this either, because we're just going for like how much XP we can get. And the main objective gets us the most amount of XP, but, you know, like every little thing that we do adds up. So, we're just going to continue this way. Fortress destroyed. Fantastic. We don't need to do anything else here. We're moving on to the next objective. We got artillery firing at us too. Let's get this going. Stay back, please. I'd rather you not shoot me. Hellbound backpack's up in another like minute and a half, so maybe I can circle back around and blow that other one up. Let's get this one going. Also, whenever you arm a Hellbomb like this, you don't want to be standing close to it. It'd be best if you get away from there, because if enemies shoot it, they can destroy it. and that means it won't go off. So, as you can see, that one blew up, and I got more XP from it. So, let's go down over here. This might be a little bit easier for us to go to. Starting assault rifle, at least the way I have it set up, since I don't have like any upgrades for this, is kind of okay. But I do need to be aiming for certain enemies' weak spots more so than what I normally would. Oh, hey, we got a teammate here. Apparently I didn't leave this as solo. That's okay. Well, another teammate does make this a little bit easier. They can knock out stuff like that. Well, I can go over here and just be throwing stuff down. You also probably want to keep your lobbies open for most people, since generally speaking, most people aren't going to be like trolling or anything like that. There we go. Okay, that one's destroyed. I'm going to go run up the other direction now, and we're going to be trying to blow that up. Barrages are super useful for just clearing up stuff. You just don't want to be near them. Like, the safe distance from barrages is usually about 70 meters. It depends. Sometimes I've been hit around there. Usually you're safe 50 meters away from it. You can kind of see how far away you are. But that's just like the average. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way. And it's really good for knocking out objectives like this. And again, this is the highest difficulty. This is the fastest way to level up weapons. But if you're not comfortable playing on this and you want to be playing on a lower difficulty, I totally understand. The Blitz missions, like I said, don't really matter if you die or not. That's not really the objective here. The objective is just to blow up as much stuff as we can. We're going back over here to this tower that we missed, that we ran through earlier. And then we're just going to blow that up thanks to this backpack. If you have this backpack or other backpacks, it's 5 to activate it, unless it's like the jump pack or the warp pack, in which case it's spacebar to activate it. That doesn't help you if you're on Xbox, though. They're going to be tied to different buttons then. So, if you're on PC, then hopefully that kind of helps you out. Okay, so I'm just going to activate this. You can also drop these two, so you don't need to be holding on to them, which is good because that is a nuke. And you don't want to be too close to a nuke when it does go off. Also, flopping on the ground does help quite a bit for just about everything. Okay. So, injured, but not dead. Let's continue onward. Well, now we're out of time, which is fine. That means that we get no more reinforcements, so if we die here, that's sort of whatever. But we also only have the 2 minutes to get back to the ship, otherwise it will leave without us. We're not really concerned about that, though. We're concerned about getting XP, so we're going to blow these up. Or we're going to die trying. And that's that's the Helldivers way. Okay, let me try to get over here. Let me try to run this way. And then, whoop, throw that. Alright. Our objective is completed now. Everything else is just a bonus. I'm also getting a lot of choppy frames at this point. Alright. Perfect. Now we just wait for our teammate to either die or to survive. Whichever. Doesn't really matter at this point. Then we'll see how much XP we get. With all of this, the XP is also multiplied by the difficulty. That's why it's better to play on the higher difficulties than it is to play on the lower ones. So right now we have 520 XP, but that gets rounded up to 1180 XP, which is mostly what we're going for. We also got 5,500 requisition slips, so if you're trying to farm requisition slips for weapon upgrades as well, or potentially trying to farm them for like the ship upgrades, your stratagems, this could be a way to do it. And the maximum time that is on these is only 12 minutes, so it doesn't take too long. I find bots and squids to be the easiest to do here, bugs being the hardest if you want to be rushing these. Mostly because squids don't do a whole lot, and the bots, sometimes it's just really easy to blow up their factories from a distance. But getting 1100 XP got me from level 2 with my Liberator up to level 5. So you can get up levels fairly quick. The XP needed to go up levels, though, is going to get greater and greater as time goes on. And then this will unlock more things to where it might just be extra sights that you could put on your gun if you want to do that. You could put on different grips to your gun. Maybe flash hiders. Some weapons don't have a whole lot of different modifications. Others do have quite a bit, like assault rifles and submachine guns have quite a bit. Marksman's rifles usually have a decent amount too, but things like shotguns generally don't have too many changes to them. Special weapons, it depends on what type of special weapon. Energy weapons also depends on them, and then the special weapons also depends on them as to what you're putting on them. Hopefully this helps you out. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.